Henry's not up here right now, so I'm going to introduce, I want you to raise your hands up, this guy right over here, Ronnie Maletta. He's our #1 crew guy. He's from Hawaii, so sometimes when you talk to him, he might say some funny sounding words like this and like that and like bra and all that stuff. Ronnie Maletta, give it up, make a little noise. And on my left, his name's Henry Rabago, but we like to call him Hank the Crank. Make a lot of noise for Henry Rabago on the lead guitar. My name's Mark Benefield. This one's called Falling Down. So do one more, and then I think somebody's gonna give a message or something. Lucky Lon's gonna come up and give us a blast. This last one we're gonna do for you, you know, the world's gonna tell you that there's a certain way you should behave and a certain way you should dress, and this is what everybody should do. And you know what? I can look around me and see that there's a lot of people in this place right now that don't go along with what the world says. Come on. Well, God's plan don't have nothing to do with what the world says either. This one's called Reject the System. Strike down the infidel, you do. 70 virgins don't wait for you. No. Reject the system. Embrace Jesus. Well, intellectual, something sexual, unacceptable. Repeat, you gotta repeat, listen up. Do what you want to, 'cause it's your life. Don't try to make me say it's alright. Oh, reject the system.
Christmas, everybody! Okay, we'll be back.
Can I have a couple volunteers help with the human chain? We're unloading the doggy gifts and some people gifts. And we're trying to do human chain wise, so maybe, I don't know if Styx is here. Someone I had asked. Yes, Squatch, awesome. Thank you.
Stay. Okay, lay down. Stay here, everybody.
How you doing, brother? Yeah. Ow! Hey, well, we rocking or what, man? It's time to rock. You know, this kind of event wouldn't be perfect, man, without a word, amen? And my name is Lucky Lon, and today is your lucky day, because I want to share a word with you, my brothers and sisters. I'm going to share a word from you out of the book of Kings, 2 Kings, chapter 6 through 7. True story. There was this king. He was the king of Aram. Aram is modern Syria today. And he heard about this other country right next to him called Samaria. And they had a lot of riches, and they had a lot of land. And he wanted it. So one day he was saying to himself, you know what? I'm going to send my whole entire army over there. And we're going to lay siege on that city. And we're going to take it. We're going to starve them out. We're going to starve out those people. And when they come out, we're going to take over the city and make slaves out of them and take everything. Okay, so they came. And they laid siege on this city. And the people were in great dire straits. They didn't know what to do. They had a king, he didn't know what to do. This siege lasted so long, true story, that they started eating each other. They would buy a donkey's head for like 28 shekels, and they would cook it and eat it. And that went against the grain with them because they were of the Jewish faith, and that was unclean. But they decided that they were so hungry they didn't care about those unclean laws, that they were going to eat that donkey's head. And so when it got time that they were getting so bad that the king of Samaria was walking along the wall. And as he was walking, he was thinking what bad shape he was in, what bad shape the kingdom was in. And as he was walking, he heard this woman yell up to him. And she said, Lord, King, Master, help me. And he looked down at her and he says, how can I help you? The Lord won't even help you. How am I going to help you? What's the matter with you anyway, woman? And she looked up at him. She says, King, see this lady that's right next to me right now? She came to me the other day and said, hey, why don't you cook up your son and eat him? We'll both eat him. And she did. She killed her son, cooked him up, and ate him. True story, true story. Okay, and she told that lady, says, you know what? The next day we're going to kill your son and cook him up and eat him. And she said, okay. So the next day came. She's talking to the king up on the wall. The next day came. And I asked her, where's your son at? We're going to cook him and eat him. And she had hidden them from her. And she was so upset. And when the king heard that, he tore his robe. He yelled, he screamed, he carried on. He said, how in the world can you do that? What has happened to my kingdom today? They're hungry so bad that they're eating their own children. And he says, man, I want to tell you, I've had it. And there was a prophet in that town of Samaria. His name was Elisha. And he was a prophet of the Lord. He talked to the Lord. And when he talked to the Lord, he talked to the king. And he told the king, don't give up. Don't surrender to those Syrians, whatever you do. The Lord is with you. And he said, after he heard that lady talk about eating her children, he says, you know what? May the Lord deal with me ever so severely if Elisha's head is still on his shoulders this time tomorrow. because I'm going to kill him. And he went looking for Elisha. And he took with him a servant, a noble. And the noble helped hold him up. He was so distraught. He couldn't even hardly walk. He was so messed up.
Hey, Mark, is that good?
And finally he found Elisha. And he came up to him. And Elisha says,
is that
whoa,
good?
whoa, king, listen to me. This is the word of the Lord. The word the Lord spoke to me. He said, by this time tomorrow, a sack of flour will sell for a shekel, and 2 sacks of barley will sell for a shekel at the city gate. You can believe me, this is what the Lord said. And then the noble that was holding up the king said, oh yeah, right. Come on, man. You expect me to believe that? I don't believe that. King, do you believe that? He said, even if the Lord opened the floodgates of heaven, that wouldn't happen. No way. And Elisha the prophet looked at him and says, well, you know what? You're going to see that happen with your own eyes. And you're going to see something else. You're not going to get to eat any of it. And then Elisha went away. He went his own way. And the king and the noble went his own way. And meanwhile, there were 4 lepers. 4 lepers there in Samaria. And you know, when you have leprosy, people don't want you around, amen? They don't like that leprosy. It's contagious. They don't want to catch it. You know, so there was the Jewish law that if you were a leopard, you had to stay outside the city gate. Now here these 4 leopards are, and they're starving, just like the people inside of Samaria. There's nothing to eat. The people in Samaria won't help them. They're on their own. So they're standing there at the city gate, and they're starving, and they're wondering about their situation. And one of them says, hey, you know what? I'm so hungry. Let's try going into the city, see if they have compassion on us. Maybe they'll give us something to eat. And the other leper says, no way, we can't go in there, we're lepers. If we go in there, they're gonna throw us out. They might even kill us. Even if they let us stay there, we're still gonna starve to death. And the leper says, well, what if we stay here at the city gates? We're not gonna get anything to eat either. We're dying. This leprosy is eating us alive. And one of the lepers said to the other one, you know what? I got an idea. Why don't we go to the Syrian camp? Why don't we surrender to the Syrians? Maybe they'll have compassion on us and they'll throw us some food. Maybe they'll let us stay with them. And the other leper says, yeah, right. And remember the Syrians are the ones that wanted to kill all of us. They might kill us. And they talked about it some more and they decided that they would go. They took a leap of faith, amen? And this story kind of reminds me of the story about the lion and the hare. It's an old story. It's about this lion that was so hungry. And he was running around and he saw a hare or a rabbit. And he chased after that rabbit. And that rabbit saw him just in the nick of time. And he jumped into a hole. And the lion came right up through the hole, man, looking in the hole, digging at it, and says, rabbit, I'm going to wait right here for when you come out. Because when you come out, I'm going to eat you. And the rabbit says, no, you're not, because I'm not coming out. I'm staying down here in this hole. I got some carrots and I can last a while. And the lion says, I'm right here waiting. So the time went on and the lion got a little hungrier. And he thought to himself, you know what, I'll tear out some of this hair out of my mane and I'll stick it into this rabbit hole. And when that rabbit looks up, he's going to see that hair and think I'm still there, and he'll be afraid. And so the rabbit was in the hole and he says, oh, lion, you think I'm just a big dummy. You think I'm so stupid. I see you up there. I see your hair. I know you're waiting right there at the entrance. I'm not coming out. And time went on a little longer. And the lion decided, I'm going to leave my hair here at the hole, and then I'm going to go look for something to eat. I'm going to fool that rabbit. And that rabbit